One-timers here, let's talk about the World Cup final. It all has been leading to this. We have the machine in Germany, and we have Lionel Messi and Argentina in this World Cup final.
It's going to be a good game. If you're Germany, it's hard to imagine a better way to go into the final. You trounce the host team with a touchdown to an extra point. It doesn't get much better than that. We'll see how many Brazil fans are in the crowd. Maybe they kind of have a pick your poison type scenario. If you're a Brazil fan in the crowd, you don't, your long rival Argentina, but then again, the team that made you cry, tears of sadness when they get destroyed 7-0. So they came in hot. They're coming in hot, and Argentina, they really haven't clearly won a game yet this tournament. So, but they've won every time, and they got the best player in the world. So you think you'll have a chance when you have that in the field.
Yeah, I think this game is going to be very interesting. Germany's destruction of Brazil, great for the Germans, but at the same time, there was not really a whole lot of competition there for that the last game to tune up for this one. So that'll be interesting if it kind of hinders the Germans, just the fact that they were really able to do what they wanted, and I don't think they're going to be able to do that against Argentina. But at the same time, for Argentina, they just played 120 minutes, had to settle it on penalties to get past the Dutch. They don't have Di Maria, and it really showed against the Dutch, where they just didn't really have that many attacking moments. So I think it's going to be very interesting just because collectively, Germany is the one that's got all the star players. You know, everyone from top to bottom. They got who's going to be on star on that pitch is going to be great. For Argentina, you got Messi, and then you got Higuain, and then you got a couple other guys, but not a lot of people that you don't really know a lot about. So it's kind of interesting because you got a very star-studded team taking on a team that you don't know too many of the players on there. But once again, they have arguably the world's best player on that team. So it's going to be very interesting. To really see kind of how this goes. It's all kind of been leading to this for Germany, I feel like. The Germans, at least since 2002, they have been in the World Cup. They've made it to the Final Four for the World Cup. So it's almost like this. You think that has to be the year that the Germans get the job done. You know, they're runners-up in 2002. 2006 third place, 2010 third place, and now they're back in the final. But for Argentina, this could very well be one of the last times that Messi gets a chance to win a World Cup and really add to that legacy that he's being hunted, being compared kind of Maradona and whatnot. So I think it's going to be a very interesting game. And by all means, I don't think anyone's gonna run away with it. I don't really think Argentina would have a possibility. Germany could very well if they get things going. But for how well Argentina has really played defensively, to me, against Switzerland, Belgium, and now the Dutch, this is going to be the greatest task yet, taking on the Germans. But if they can stay disciplined and play that defense very well, I think it'll be a very good game.
I don't know if you saw the report, but it was probably the best player outside of Messi, Mascherano, who was a bruiser in the midfield for defensive midfield for Argentina. Had a pretty kind of, I don't even know if I don't want to have any bleep me out or anything, but he had an interesting injury towards the end of the game. He's questionable for the Argentina game or the final, and if he can't play, they're really in trouble. He's kind of holding together. He plays good defense and stuff like that, but I honestly don't see Argentina scoring a goal unless it comes from a lucky set piece like corner, Messi scoring a free kick, or Messi pulls a miraculous goal. He dribbles through 8 people like they're Cohen, which I don't think Germans will let happen because they'd rather just kick him in the back of the leg and he'll fall down before that happens.
Yeah.
Argentina hasn't dominated anybody. They barely beat Iran, barely beat Nigeria, they barely beat Bosnia and Herzegovina. I honestly don't think they have a chance going into this. I could be wrong, obviously. I've been wrong a couple times before on this podcast. But I think this is going to be a game like we saw against France, against USA, where Germany just physically is bigger, they seem like they're clicking all cylinders. They're like a machine. They're on the reel right now. I think it'll be 2-0 Germany. I don't see many chances happening for Argentina aside from if there's any magic Messi can have, which would be a one-man show at this point.
Yeah, I think I'm glad you mentioned Mascherano because he had a match-saving tackle in stoppage time against Arjen Robben, where he just got in there just right at the nick of time, right as Robben was about to shoot it, and he was able to deflect it out of bounds for a corner kick. And to me, that was, that's what Robben does. He gets in those tight spaces in the very end of time and finds a way to score that goal amidst two defenders. And Mascherano did well to basically, in my opinion, get Argentina to this World Cup final, because if he's not there, Robben very well could have put that in the back of the net and you'd be seeing the Dutch back in the final. But yeah, it's going to be very tough for Argentina. It's going to be an uphill battle. I think that Germany will probably win just due to the fact that they just have so many options to scoring, whereas other than Messi, like Di Maria has one, Higuain has one, and maybe a few other people might have just one. I'm not 100% sure. But if Messi has not really showed up, he didn't really show up to me against the Dutch. Now that was obviously a good part with the Dutch defense, but at the same time, if Messi doesn't show up, I don't see how Argentina can necessarily really contend with Germany. Because I agree with you, Argentina's gonna have to find a way to score a goal. Because you mentioned that you don't think they'll score a goal. I am pretty confident that Germany can score at least 1 to 2 goals. I'm very confident about that. So if Argentina can't seem to find a way to counter that, then this one very well will go to the Germans. I think another thing that's important to note is the way Argentina would have to win this game is they would have just to defend all out and hope that Germany has one of those games like they had against the USA, Algeria, Ghana, where it just doesn't quite, they're not clicking on cylinders like they were against Brazil. They're having a tough time trying to score goals, and then they get frustrated, and then you just hope basically at some point Messi can create something, either score the goal himself or create something for Higuain or someone else, and hope that they can get a goal there. That's the way that Argentina, to me, is going to have what they're going to have to do to be able to try and even beat Germany, because we have seen Germany not look the best in a couple different games here, but they look fantastic against Brazil. Obviously, a depleted Brazil, but I think it's going to be a good game. One thing to note, just looking back, this is kind of just a fun fact, but we'll start with the 2010 World Cup. Going all the way back to the 1986 World Cup. If you remember in 2006, France and Italy went to penalties where Italy won. That game finished 1-1. And from the 86 World Cup all the way to it'll be the 90 World Cup actually. Starting the 90 World Cup all the way to the 2010 World Cup, that France-Italy final is the only World Cup final where both teams scored a goal. All the other games was it was either 2-0 or 1-0 or 3-0 or 0-0 and went to penalties. Other than the France-Italy game so 86 was the last time where both teams scored. But that's kind of an interesting stat line, just where so many games have been just one team scoring. But, if Argentina can't get things clicking, I agree with you. I think it could be a 2-0 German victory in which they will win the World Cup. I think it's kind of interesting that this is the third time these two teams have met in the World Cup. Obviously, Germany was West Germany back in the day. But, you can kind of argue that this one's for all the marbles now. You had an Argentine victory, a German victory, and now you're going to get the third one to really decide which country is supreme between the two for the World Cup.
It's tough for Argentina, especially because, like I said before, three best players for them have probably been Di Maria, Messi, and Mascherano. And Messi might be the only one playing on Sunday. According to the Washington Post, Di Maria is like in a frantic hurry to possibly be able to play. He might be resorting, according to the article, he might resort to stem cell therapy, which isn't proven to work, which is kind of dangerous, I guess. We'll see that works. But anyway, I mean, there's no chance that Aguero and Higuain and possibly Gago need to step up. It's just crazy when you look at the German team, how many good players they have that don't even start. Schroeder's had a great tournament.
Yeah.
He's been great. Klose is one of the best players in World Cup history, obviously. Cruz has completed he completed over 90% of his runs and over 90% of his passes, which is more than anybody, clearly. Ghost is a good player. It's just not ready to go down the list. They've been proven to do well. And then and Manuel Neuer is proven to be one of the best goalies, and he hasn't really been called upon.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, it's going to be, I honestly think Argentina, they also got to hope for penalties, or they got to get a little lucky. So, hopefully it's not one of those games that's real boring and cagey, but this one seems to be, for the most part, in the finals, people are so tightened up. I think Germany does well. This is an immense amount of pressure on Messi, but I think Germany will do well, and they'll definitely do it mostly. I can't see them dominating like they did against Brazil, but they'll definitely do what they want physically and offensively.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that the Germans will get the job done here and finally get that World Cup that they've been looking for since 1990, as they've been in this position times before, but just kind of fell short at the very end. But yeah, I agree with you. Both of us got Germany winning the World Cup final.